but I've gotten the nickname the hall monitor with her.
Oh, the hall monitor, okay.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the FightingTide podcast. Today, I have a guest with me. His name is Nick Wright. He's one of my other creative friends. I mentioned that on the last podcast that I have some of those, and I figured I'd bring him on. He was, we've been hanging out a lot lately, and it seemed like the right time. So we'll kind of get into more of what he does here in a second. But Nick, I know you're not super familiar with Rainbow Six Siege.
I am not. Okay.
But so the way that they have it set up is like every couple months they have new operators and like a new map that come out in an operation, and so it's like a big update to the game, and they added one, and it's like a British constable, and she's like pissed off at everything. So but what she has is she's on the defending side because attackers and defenders. She has a big shield, but it also tasers people.
Oh boy.
And so I recently started playing her, and I was like, I probably won't like her because there's another operative that came out that I thought I'd like more. However, it's pretty fun, and so we've been playing on there, and there's like ranked, which is like competitive play, and I was able to not unranked, but I've been using her on ranked, which is a testament to my confidence with her because usually I only pick like one or two people. But I've gotten the nickname the hall monitor with her.
Oh, the hall monitor, okay.
Because like she always yells
just that
stuff.
good?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's just like she always yells stuff when she's zapping people. Like she calls people like Muppets and shit like that.
Man.
And one of her things is like no running in the halls. So I was playing, and so there's an objective. It's like King of the Hill, basically. They have to get into the objective, and it's contested if both teams are in there. And you get one life in this game. I'm not sure if you're privy to that, but you get one life. And so I'm the last guy alive with my shield, zappy shield, and I have a pistol sidearm, and they've only killed one guy, so there's 4 people in this objective with me.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there and I'm zapping all of them, and anyway, and I end up winning. That's the thing of it. But the whole time I was just yelling and no running in the halls and just like all that. So I got the nickname the hall monitor. So anytime anybody's outside of the objective, I always have to ask them for their hall pass, and I thought that was kind of fun because that's like what we've been doing today. And for those of you watching, I placed in my ranked matches, and I'm a gold too.
Hey.
It's pretty okay.
I'm not super familiar at all. I've watched a couple people play. I've watched you play, I think, a little bit, but I've never played myself. I'm not a huge video game player. Yeah. So.
But you are doing something tonight involving video games.
I am doing something tonight.
And what is that? Lay it on me.
Oh, Spiderman for the PS4.
It looked pretty damn good. I honestly I'm not like huge into like comic book stuff entirely. Like I can appreciate it, but I'm just like it's not really my thing. That Spider-Man game looks pretty fun though. I think that Jason's gonna get it because he has a PlayStation. I don't, okay. So I don't have access to it. But it looked pretty fun. So are you and Colin both getting it, or is
yes?
Okay, so
we
you guys
both
gonna be playing
pre-ordered it.
Cool.
And we went to GameStop a few times just to, check in.
Yeah.
We even went in today. We tried to get these little tickets. It basically puts you in a group. Yeah. So that you can come in tonight and get it without waiting in a huge line.
Yeah. So they call in like different groups at a time so that all those people can get their game, and then the next group. Yeah.
So he took a lunch off of work. We went in at 1:30, and they're like, "Oh well, you actually have to be here at 6 o'clock to 8." So he took a lunch off. We just got some Jamba Juice.
Yeah, sure. You're already over there. I get you.
Yeah. And then just did some grocery shopping, but tonight is a night.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Play. So are you guys have tomorrow off? Are you guys planning on just like staying up all night and playing it, or what?
He has tomorrow off, and we are going to stay up as long as we can tonight and just play the living hell out of it.
That's gonna be awesome.
Oh, so awesome.
It seemed like a lot of fun. That's one of the reasons. Like usually, I don't really have a problem not having a PlayStation 4 because a lot of the exclusive titles for it are very like story based. Like you play them once through, and not that there's not much more to them, but like that's like the meat of it is like in the single player experience. But with a game like that, I think it's open world, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that would be something that I'd like to invest some time into that I'm not able to. But things like The Last of Us and stuff, I'm okay with just having my Xbox and my PC because I can. I know people that have PlayStations, and I can just play through it on there, and then kind of be done with it. But that is one thing that I'm kind of not upset about, but I'm just like, man, that's the one. That could have been me.
When I was a kid, I used to play this. I played Spider-Man 1, 2, 3. with my dad.
Okay.
And I would watch him play a lot, and then once I got old enough, I started going back and I played them myself, and I'd play them with my friend Brandon.
Yeah.
And it's going to be such a huge nostalgia trip for me.
For sure.
I am so excited.
No, I totally get it. I totally get it.
Colin kind of comes from the same thing too.
That's cool.
He played them all as a kid. He still has the games.
Yeah. So you guys have a good time.
Oh,
okay, that's
such
awesome.
a good time.
So I love my work. I love my job, right? However, I love pretty much everything about it. Pretty much all of it. It's pretty.
I'm hearing
good.
a but here.
There is a but.
Okay.
From day one there, I was like, all right, I need the weekend of the 21st off. During my interview, I'm like, all right, this is okay. I will accept this job. I just need the weekend of the 21st off. And they're like, okay. The next month after I finish my training, hey, just remind you, the week of the 21st in September, I need that off. And they're like, okay. And then the following, hey, the month after next, I'm going to need the 21st off.
Just keep it on tabs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it comes like a week before September, and my manager's making the schedule. And she's just like, oh, do you need any time off? I'm like, yeah, the 21st. And she's like, okay, put it in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I will. And then I get my schedule the other day, and I didn't look too far into it, but I checked it. And I have one of like the 4 days that I requested off, and I'm just like, all right, so fuck me, I guess. It was just like, she's like, yeah, don't worry, it's gonna be, that's not even like a pivotal weekend or anything like that. Should be good. But fuck me, I guess. And it's also the only like weekend this entire month that I'm like scheduled in a way to where like that will like extra fuck me. So it's just like, all right, cool. Because I work Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, all opening shifts, so I can't do anything like in the nighttime. You know what I mean?
So you have no way to get someone else to cover it for you?
I don't know yet. I need to look into them. I just realized it I just realized that yesterday. So I'm still like running it through my head and how I'm gonna do it. But I'm gonna see if somebody can switch me or whatever. But
what were your plans? If you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. It's Jason's birthday. It's his 21st birthday, and you want to do some stuff, which he's been kind of like wishy-washy on it anyway. So like, I know we were supposed to do something the night he turned 21 for sure, but the rest of it was just like kind of up for whatever. So, because he wanted to go to Vegas, and then I was like, oh, okay,
Ooh,
we'll start.
Big stuff. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, you need to let me know if we're doing that. He's like, oh, we'll go to Reno instead. I'm like, all right, that's drivable. It's not as big of a deal. And I was just like, yeah, we'll just do something the night of, and then I'll go out with my brother and do something the other day. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I have, so in a way, it's a little bit of a relief, but also it's not, because the one day that I am supposed to do something with him, I don't have off. But then the day now that he's not doing anything with me, I have that off. So I'm just like, all right, whatever.
So is his birthday the day that you work?
So yes, so his birthday is the 21st, right? And I work the 20th opening, the 21st opening, and the 22nd opening.
Were those all days that you requested off?
I requested the 22nd off. So I just didn't get that one. I requested the 22nd, and we don't work on Sundays anyway. Mm-hmm. So I requested 22nd so I could go the night of his birthday, so that I could go out with him. And then the next day I could, recover. And then we already had Sunday off. And then I was like, I'll throw in a Monday if we're going to Reno, so that I can, kind of recuperate from driving back.
Oh, yeah.
And I got Monday off. And we already have Sunday off, so I guess that's 2. But, like, I don't know.
Well, it's a start, Yeah.
And nobody's going to want to cover a Saturday shift, though, which is shitty.
Just because everyone wants the weekends off?
Yeah.
See, you got stuck with the butt end.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. So I'm just like, all right, well, fuck me, I guess. So,
even after trying and trying and trying.
I know.
Of course.
And then the thing is it's not even like oh, we'll see. It's just like, yeah, that should be totally fine. It's not like a weird weekend where like it's gonna be extra busy. It's a Saturday, the slowest day of the week, and it's just like, fuck you, Taylor. I guess so.
Fuck you, Taylor.
That's how it is. But I'll figure it out. I've also come to the realization that like I haven't been using my talents properly. And by that, I mean that, okay, so this whole thing that we do, this is probably the most expensive hobby that I have, running the podcast and like making videos and stuff for YouTube. Yeah. And I have other hobbies like some graphic design and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And my problem is I haven't been leveraging those other skills that I have in order to make money to do this. Mm-hmm. And I came to that realization yesterday because my friend, he's doing something, I think it's called E4G, and it's like it's hard to explain. It's like a competitive tournament for video gaming, and you do that, and then you can place to go if you win it, you win money, but you also can place to get into basically what is like the equivalent of like college football.
Oh, okay.
For that, and then from there you can go into like the pro leagues and that kind of thing. And he wants to do that, but he wants some designs for like their team logo and that kind of thing.
Okay.
And so he came to me.
He contacted you.
And so I started making some stuff, and I was like, I started looking into it because I didn't know how much to charge him for it because he wanted to pay me, and I was like, all right, I make a lot of money doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm.
You're good at it too.
Thank you.
I've seen your work.
I appreciate that. And like I'm grossly he's grossly underpaying for the service because he's my bud. I'm not really that worried about it. It's not like I'm trying to supplement my rent or anything like that. But getting some extra cash is not too bad.
No.
But I went on and I spent a couple hours last night working on some stuff, and I made like this background, and then I have like each one of their logos for each one of their pictures, and he's paying me $50 for that.
Hey,
that's pretty good. And then he wants to pay me $25 for the actual like team logo when they do that, and that's really good. See, $75.
Even that's a rent supplement right there. That's your groceries. That's some gas.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that, or like at the very least, if not that, like it's something that I can put towards doing this, which
exactly
because I love doing that, but I love doing this also. And
doesn't mean you can't do it.
Exactly.
A little bit of everything.
And that's the thing. And because there's not really much more I need as far as like the graphic design aspect of it goes. Like I have a decent program, and I have a tablet and a good nib still, and like all these other stuff that's like a little like righty part of it. And so like I have the tools to do that, and there's not really much else I need. There's a couple of things that I'm still working the kinks out with. So it's nice to be able to do one of those things to work towards the other.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. So I think that I'm going to look into that. I have somebody else wants to commission me for a logo too. So it'll be good.
Dude, see, the more you get out there, the more people are going to see it. That's how it works. It's amazing. I wanted to share this little piece I found this morning. A lot of people have different feelings about Gary Vaynerchuk. Not sure if you've heard of him.
I've heard of him. I'm trying to think of it. Can you fill me in on a little backstory for them and for me?
Yeah. So Gary, he grew up in, I believe, the old Soviet Union.
Okay.
And he came to America very broke.
Yeah.
Nothing in his family,
American dream type situation.
Yeah. And his famous stories, he kind of just started off selling like baseball cards.
Oh, okay.
Or football cards. It was some cards, sports, some trading cards, yeah. And that was when he realized that he was entrepreneurial. He never saw that in himself until he started that because he wanted some extra money as a kid.
Yeah.
And he sucked at school. He always got D's and F's and all that. And then he just kept going, and he started a wine business, and he's gone into social media.
Yeah.
He's a very talented man. He has a huge social media company now. He's kind of a motivational speaker at this point. That's what he leverages on social media a lot.
Yeah.
But I saw something from him this morning. It was this guy. It kind of fit into my shoes a bit, what I'm feeling right now. This guy was talking to him, kind of on the street. He has a cameraman that follows him around. And the guy was like, I've had all summer, and I've just been sitting on my ass. I wanted to be making music. I was planning on making music every single day, and I've just been sitting on my ass. And Gary's like, well, what were you doing the whole summer? And he's like, to be honest, just sitting on Netflix, like doing nothing. And he was like, hey, at least you're honest.
Yeah.
But the kid was saying how like he wanted perfection, and that was the reason that he hadn't been doing it. And Gary kind of called bullshit on him. He's like, hey, that's not your reason. It's deeper reasons than that. A lot of people say that perfectionism is why they don't do things, but it's really insecurities. You either do suck or you think you suck. And then that keeps you from not doing it. And I've been struggling with that a lot. I haven't even tried much, and I'm just like, I don't know if I could do this. And
I totally get that. It's stifling. I actually earlier on into this podcast, I almost quit during like our first like season, or whatever you want to call it, before we took our hiatus, because I got a podcast out like an hour late, and I did like a shitty job editing it because it was like a rush job. Because that was when we were doing it like every week, and the YouTube just wouldn't upload it, and like a bunch of other stuff is just like a myriad.
Everything was going wrong.
It was a myriad of fuck ups, Murphy's Law, like a whole thing, and then like Jason, like I was talking to him, and I got kind of mad at him, but he came back and he was talking to me. He's like, it's bound to happen. Like if you can't expect it to go right 100% of the time, and we know that definitely now because we've probably recorded 40 podcasts, and we have 16 that are on our channel or whatever, however many it is.
That is so impressive to me. Just want to say that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I wish we wouldn't have taken our hiatus. We didn't really have a good reason to. We just, life got in the way and we kind of let it.
Happens.
But like we have a bunch of like unused footage that just didn't work out or whatever, and I just like can only imagine like now that I know that, like back then the fact that I wanted to quit because of like there was a little bit of an audio issue. We ended up having to use the camera audio, which we've done a bunch of times now because these things like to take a shit all the time. But the fact that I wanted to do that, and then he was just like, just him saying that was just like, it's bound to happen is really, it was something small, but it really meant so much because that made me kind of realize that you're right. It doesn't have to be perfect every time. Like people aren't watching it so that they can get the production quality of it. The production quality is just us back to them. It's like the cherry on top rather than what they're here for. They're here for the content. Or the people or whatever. And I think that realizing that like kind of pushed me to do that again, because after that I was very successful, not very successful, I don't want to say that, but like more successful in my personal videos that I make because I wasn't really worried about perfection. And I've noticed that as well because I kind of took a hiatus from my personal channel as well because I just didn't have the money to buy all these new games and get all this new content for whatever. But something that kind of changed my perspective on it was there's this channel that I follow and they have like 1.5 million subscribers or whatever, and they're always doing the new game or some like weird like obscure shitty game or something, but they just released a video for no reason on like Portal 2 that came out like 7 years ago, and it was just like and it worked and it was just fun and I enjoyed watching it, and it's just like it just kind of goes to show that people don't necessarily like sure what you're playing in that specific scenario is part of it, but maybe people are just watching it for the people, and it's just like and
the personalities behind the work that they're doing.
And that's definitely true for me. Like they put out like they could put out the most random video. Like I'm not really a huge movie guy, but they have a movie podcast and I watch it almost every time because I just enjoy listening to their perspectives on things and that kind of thing. And so that just kind of put that in perspective for me, that it's just like, it could be anything.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
And a lot of people, I had this conversation with you the other night actually. No matter how small of a channel you are, no matter how small of a following you are, there are people that will always be there.
Yeah.
Even if it's 10, even if it's 50, like those people will be there. And that's where you start.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone has their own interests and their own, I don't know what to call it, but they watch their own things, they listen to their own things, and if it's not hundreds of thousands of people, you have an audience.
Yeah, exactly. It's still something. Like it's still like, because you do it for yourself, but also, having people watch it definitely it makes the process easier and it makes it kind of worth it for me. Like I don't want to say that I don't care about how many people are watching, because I do. It's just like it's human nature. It's kind of unavoidable. I mean, I make it for myself because I make something that I would want to watch, and that's kind of my thought process behind the whole thing. But it gets kind of discouraging if you see like if you have one video that does really well and then one that just doesn't, and it just fluctuates. But again, it's just bound to happen, and there are the same people that are always there watching it, and it's kind of comforting to see like that doesn't really change. So it's pretty cool. And I mean, we've done our podcast. We have 1 million sets right now. We have I showed Nick, and you saw it the other day. That we have like a pretty big production going on in the garage. That's like we're going to be using pretty soon. Either when we get the AC or when it cools down for it.
It's gonna be cool right around the corner.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping for, because I'd rather just bundle up than have to deal in the sweat. Because I recorded for a couple hours out there the other day, and I was like pouring sweat. It was like crazy.
It's disgusting. That's where we live.
Yeah, it's not great. Yeah. But I got some good content out of that. I've been editing just a little like funny moments Siege video. It's been pretty good.
I'm down to wrap up in a sweater once it hits wintertime. I'm more comfortable in than sweating.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'd rather be bundling up than like peeling off all of my clothes until I just have skin, because you can't really take that off. You know what I mean?
No, you reach a point.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to sleep. That's the worst.
Oh man, you're telling me, dude.
Going to a whole divergent there, but anyways.
But it's cool. We have a whole setup since Jason got a new TV. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't.
But so we actually have the only thing we need out there still, other than we're getting 2 more of these mics and then 2 more capture devices, is we're getting a couch soon, because I have Fernando's giving me his other one when he gets a new one, and then a table to go behind it, and then just like a couple of like miscellaneous items like cords and that kind of thing. But those are all the big things. So we're just
set the
done.
Stage and
yeah, because he has a good couch that I like for it. We're gonna get like a table to go behind it, and then we need the lighting obviously. But we have so we have that couch, and then we have a TV in front of it, but it's in a position to where I can use this computer that we're using to record this podcast to record old school video games too.
Oh, okay.
And so we're gonna do like a couch, like we're gonna play like Mario Party for the N64, and we're gonna
that's gonna be really fun.
And that's what I'm excited for, because I had this capture device that I bought on Amazon or eBay or some shit. It was like $8, and I was like, that's crazy cheap, and it didn't work. But it's because I was trying to use the program it came with instead of using a program called Open Broadcast Software. It's called OBS. You might have heard of it, but using that, it can you can set it up to where you can play your games, and it's really cool. So the only thing we need for that to actually work is we need to find the disc that it came with to get the drivers for it, but also to get a splitter for the old, like, you know, not coaxial cables, the AV cables, like the red, white, and yellow. And as soon as we get a splitter for that, then we can have it hook up into the computer and hook up into the TV at the same time.
There you go.
We can play, and I'm really excited for that, honestly, and I think that's what Jason's most excited for as well. Because we love those old video games, and we've had this segment that we've been trying to start, or that we plan on starting at least, called The Games That Made Us, where it's just like we play all the old games from our
that's
childhood.
going to be super cool.
And I think that'll be a good way to do it, because we have 4 stations out there. We have 4 people that are, at least 4 people that are, you know, like basically ready to record whenever. And then we have a fuck ton of people that would love to be a part of it and stuff too. So it's going to be awesome. We're going to play. I went over to my parents' house. I got all my old consoles. So we have like the Dreamcast out there, and we have like our classic PlayStation and the old Xbox and a bunch of other stuff. It's going to be awesome.
See, I wish I was more into that culture when I was young. Yeah. I did the PS1, PS2, PS3. I did the PlayStations. That's what my dad was into. And that's about it, though.
I got you.
I didn't dive into any of the other things. I never had the money as a kid to go out and buy, or the gumption to go and do that. It never crossed my mind.
I get you.
And the friends that I had, like Brandon had a GameCube.
Yeah.
That was about it. None of my other friends had any consoles, so I wasn't cultured as far as the old video games go.
It's all good. I just got lucky. My dad, he's like an IT, or he's doing something else now, but he was like an IT nerd for the longest time, super into video games. So like, I always had. And I had a brother who was also into that stuff. And my mom's kind of into video games too. She's not like super serious about it, but she used to play with us. And so we didn't always have the newest console, but we always, you know, had something. And that was kind of like what our fun money in the household went to. We didn't go on a lot of trips other than down to visit family and stuff like that. But we, you know, like my brother, they got the Super Nintendo, and like. We got like the PS2. I remember that. We played Gauntlet on that. It was a good time, and I'm actually kind of thankful for it, because like, especially with the culture that's around nowadays, it's like there's a huge culture around it, and you know, being privy to all that at a younger age is it's cool. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of why Jason and I get along so well, is because, you know, one, we grew up together, but he had a bunch of consoles when he was younger too, so we always played Halo and Mario
Something
Kart.
You bonded over. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was cool. And so this is like. I don't want to say like a dream, but it's just like, it's kind of what we always talked about as a kid, is just like, you know, playing video games when we're adults living together kind of situation. It's cool.
Hey, that's what you're gonna do right now.
Yeah,
there you go.
Exactly, and that's the fun part. So like, and he's really funny, and he's very talented and stuff. So it's a good time. Really
I bet there's a lot of people interested in that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. And I hope so, at least. I for one, when I see those kinds of videos, I love watching them. And the thing is that I have a good time making content of all kinds. Like I love just the arts in general. I love writing music, and like I mixed Devin's EP recently,
which was very good.
Thank you.
I've listened to that a few times.
Yeah, he's. I mean, honestly, he's the one that picked out all the music and rapped on it. I just mixed it and added in some effects and that kind of thing, recorded it. But it was very fun to do. I did the album art though.
That's what I remember.
Thank you. He didn't even ask for it. I just randomly, I was just like, what does Devin like? He likes Sonic the Hedgehog, and what's hip right now? I'm like Vaporwave, and I'm like, all right, let's just mix the two. And that was honestly that was really fun to make as well. I'm proud of that. That I was able to find all that stuff. But I just enjoy all the arts, and I think that it's fun to kind of dip my toes into it, and then having those sorts of experiences, they all kind of culminate, and that's where, like recording for the channel, that's where it all culminates, because it takes into account, like my experience with setting up like audio and my experience like framing, these, like it may not seem like much, but I meticulously frame like every podcast that we do, because it's just gonna be one shot, the whole thing. It has to cover most of it. And then I make the thumbnails for it and stuff, which is really fun for me. And playing video games and stuff. So there's a lot to it, and I enjoy like every aspect of it. So that's why the channel part, or the gameplay and the podcast are two of my favorites, because it kind of challenges all those aspects of it. It's fun.
I really wish I would have met you at a younger age. Well, I did meet you. I wish we would have been friends at a younger age.
We ran a meme page together.
Yeah, we did.
That was a good time.
It's called K.
I know. I was kind of an asshole to you back then, but that's okay.
Hey,
Water
it's
under
all
the bridge.
behind us.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I just think that we would have flourished.
I think so too.
Younger.
Well, because
in
we both
creative ways, and
really though, we both have that like entrepreneurial spirit, I think. And I don't know. I see all the stuff that you're doing. Like you made an app for a while ago, which was really cool. Like something I never even dreamed of doing. But
Thank you.
honestly, I know it seems kind of lame, but seeing like somebody that I knew able to do that made me much more comfortable in like chasing this as an avenue, because like
I appreciate that.
yeah, no problem. Like I appreciate that you did it, because like honestly, seeing that somebody that I knew was able to do something of that magnitude, which in my opinion seems light years above what I'm doing.
Oh man, I don't know about that, but I appreciate the sentiment.
Yeah, well, no problem. But it's just like seeing that. I was like, all right, well if he can do that, then I can at least do this. You know what I mean? And it's cool, and I think because one, we get along. I think that it would have been cool to work together. I'd like to work together on stuff in the future, i.e. like this and stuff. But and two, like you're very like, I think you're dedicated to learning the kinds of things, and I think that's one thing that we definitely share in common, because there's a lot that goes into these sorts of things that most people don't think about, and that's one of the reasons why like this is by no means a diss to Jason, but he talks about it all the time. It's just like, that's why I set up the podcast and why I edit it and all that kinds of things, because he's the funny guy. He can't be bothered with learning all this other stuff,
the technicalities,
and I don't blame him by any means. But it's just, that's one of the reasons why we worked well together, because I had like the technical aspects down, and he's funny, but also he has good energy to feed off of to be funny, because some of the things he says are just like outrageous. And it's perfect for that type of situation.
See, and where we differ, I did that app. I did not want to put myself out there. That's where we differ in that zone, is because this is what you're doing.
This is entirely
you're
like
putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
I never would have done this on my own, at least.
And that's one of the reasons why I think that that's one of the reasons why I wish that we would have met sooner, is because I feel like that's another one of those things where it's like a symbiotic like relationship, where like we both have these two aspects of it that like they complement each other. So in future projects, I would like to work together.
Yeah, of course. So would I.
Yeah, because I think it'd be fun, and I can appreciate like what the first moment that I kind of realized it was when you invited me to go to Comic-Con with you. Is when I was talking about recording some of it, like that you and Colin had no qualms or anything with it. You didn't think it was weird. You didn't think like anything like that. I was like, all right, that's cool. So there's that kind of chemistry of it, because I think that Jason's really good on the podcast and everything like that. He's very funny, but he's just not comfortable putting himself out there, kind of like how you are. And I know that you still might not be, but you can at least perform on camera as well. And it's just one of those things, like being open to that sort of thing. Is that he's afraid of like judgment, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why we don't do a lot of like live action stuff out in public and that sort of thing.
And like I won't lie, I'm uncomfortable right now.
I know, and
like I'm getting used to it as I sit here more.
That's totally okay, and I get it too. Like I'm like we wanted to do the whole vlogging thing for a while, because it was really popular and it's something that we kind of enjoy doing. But again, I also am like severely uncomfortable with having a camera in public, even though it's like nobody gives a fucking shit.
It's so common now.
Yeah.
You think that you wouldn't have a problem with it, but when you go out and walk, it's not, especially where we live, it's not the most common thing. You don't see people walking around with cameras all the time. Now you go down to LA,
then it's completely normal.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But you're putting yourself out there in this way that you will get looks.
Yeah.
But if you really want to do it, you just got to ignore
Exactly.
that. And I'm telling myself that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's not something I'm willing to do.
No, I get it. Did you actually know that there is a like YouTube famous like vlogger that lives like here?
Is it a girl?
Yeah.
I think.
I don't remember her actual name, but
Yeah.
I remember Jason found her and he was talking to me about her. She calls her fan base the Alligators because her name is Allie or something.
I think Colin showed me her. She drives. She does
Yeah.
like vlogs driving around town. Yeah.
Fernando was in one of her class with her or something, but I just thought that was weird that like that existed because Jason had like his auto play up and he was watching something, and then we were watching this video and she was driving and we saw Hilltop.
Yeah.
And
Colin and I did the same
it's
thing.
funny. And he was just like, holy shit, I think this person is like in Reading. So he like kind of dug a little deeper and he's like, yeah. I was like, how about that? And then we talked to Fernando and they went to class or something together. And it's just like, if the way I understand it, I think she moved here recently, but if somebody can kind of make that sort of following here, then it's doable and it's kind of like an untapped like resource. You know what I mean? Like if it's not saturated yet.
I agree with that so much. I see people. I'm not sure if you've heard of the artist Paris.
Yeah. It's what it has like the V instead, right? Maybe.
I'm not.
Maybe not.
I'm not sure.
Is it a girl singer?
No.
Okay, never mind.
It's a guy. He went to a high school here. Colin actually went to high school with him for a period of time. Or I think he knew someone.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
There's some sort of like interaction there. Yeah, I get it.
He is again touring with Post Malone right now. Which
no,
huge to me.
No, I am familiar with that. Jason told me about that also.
It just impresses me.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Like seeing people here, it kind of helps motivate others. It's like, hey, if other people can do it in this space, then
well, it's just like
why can't anyone?
The area we live is just it's so stagnant for creativity that it's hard to find the motivation to do those sorts of things, at least for me. And so like seeing that there are success stories and that it's not just one isolated incident, but it's not like oversaturated to where you're going to get lost in the noise is it's really cool. And that's one of the other things that keeps me going is just like the fact that it is possible. It's just like you have to put your mind to it. I mean, granted, like there is sort of like a meta game to be played with certain things, like especially with like YouTube involving like analytics and like thumbnails and titles and stuff like that. And to a certain extent, I want to not play that game, but you kind of have to in order to be successful because you have to. It's a way you get noticed.
Yeah.
And that's one of the more frustrating aspects of it for me, because I don't want to put thought in Fortnite in every like in the tags of all my videos, but
clickbait.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just that's one of the things that I am slowly having to come to the realization that I'm probably going to have to get on board with, or at least like to an extent, at least do a satirical version of that, which would be probably something I'm more comfortable with because I like making fun of those sorts of things.
See, and I've talked to you about this channel before. I'm not sure if you're familiar with H3 Productions.
Yeah, I'm definitely familiar with them.
Oh, okay.
I don't watch their stuff, but I'm familiar with them.
The route that they took, like I started watching them before they had the podcast, but they built up quite a following through satirical videos, going out in public, doing crazy shit, making videos like this, him and his wife just sitting in their house, goofing around. They built that following, and they get so many views on their podcast. They play it on Twitch and live.
Yeah, and I honestly love that about it. It's just like that you can make something literally just from your living room, and it's like it's expensive once you get into the actual like production of it, but it's just like it's so doable.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's kind of like it's the current equivalent of people selling art on the streets, I think.
Yeah.
Is it's just like just waiting for the right person to see it kind of thing, or making the right connection. So I don't know. I'm just happy I have a lot of creative friends that like I'm able to network with and not feel like I'm using them kind of situation, because you know we are friends. It's cool.
My biggest thing, for one, I didn't know that these people were around.
Yeah.
I thought, it sounds kind of selfish, I thought that I was the only one. Like in my high school or whatever, I'm like, is anyone else really business minded? Is anyone else like this? But then you do meet people.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing is not being judged.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to hang out with you, I don't want to be judged for goofing off or
exactly.
for doing something that I think is going to be fun or cool.
And honestly, I think that kind of goes beyond the whole production or like entrepreneurial aspect of it. I think it's just like yeah, there is a lot of I don't like talking shit about where I live so much because it gets old after a while, but it's just like there really is like it's very stagnant and it's very one-minded around here. So it is hard to find those kinds of people, but a lot of those connections that you can make with that they'll last a long time.
Yeah. You can turn my ringer off.
No, it's all good.
I think we just tend to live in a bubble here.
Yeah. Of
people that kind of are afraid of that judgment because everyone is judging.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's very it's not like it's it's not undeserved to not undeserved. I don't want to say that. It's warranted to feel like you're being judged because most of the time you probably are. And I think that the problem is that kind of gets to people sometimes, and it makes them feel like there's no good. There's no there's nobody else that's like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to an extent, there's few and far between, but there are people like we're sitting here right now talking, and you know I've had many other people on the podcast that are interested in that sort of thing. I recently started talking to this guy that I was hanging out with before I moved, and we were playing video games a lot together, and I knew him as a kid. But he recently just started talking to me. He's like, "Yeah, I'll be in whatever video you want. You just tell me." And I'm like, "Okay." Like, cool. And so he's like super into doing it and just being a part of that. Let's see what I get. Hold on. That was weird. Just Devin sending me a text that he paid his phone bill.
No, good for him.
Yeah,
so I'm proud of him.
Yeah, probably so he could text me. I'm proud of him as well. But yeah, it's just like I get what you mean by living in a bubble. That coupled with the fact that the amount of people that you can like network with or have these kinds of conversations with are few and far between. It definitely makes it more difficult.
Yeah.
But people like Faith's sister and you and like Devin that I'd like to have him on the podcast as well. Yeah. But like Devin and like all those other people that are like trying to do something, and then I just started talking to Bryson again, and he runs the Annex, which is the one of the local venues.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to see people doing that, and it's just like I always had you can always find an excuse or something, but seeing like Bryson, he's in 2 bands, runs the Annex, and has a full-time job. I'm just like, all right. I'll.
You realize you have less and less excuse the more you see other people do.
Yeah, exactly, and it's a motivating factor, really. Like I know you should be intrinsically motivated, but it gets hard sometimes. It really does. Yeah. But seeing other people, able to do it really kind of helps me push through. At least I don't know.
Something that kind of motivates me is you see these extremely successful people, and you do see some of their story, but you don't ever see all of it.
Yeah.
Like you have to realize that a lot of these people do start out like this.
Yeah. It's true. It really is. Like one of the reasons why I follow Rooster Teeth and like all their other stuff is because I've basically been watching them since the beginning, because my brother used to watch Red vs. Blue, which is a show they made. They got one capture card like back in the day, basically, or I think they actually recorded it on a camera on their TV, and they just got one that was in the right sync or something. I don't remember, and they made a whole narrative and a whole show just playing Halo custom games, and that's what they did. And they just like moved the heads to talk. So they literally had the cameras, or the camera, the capture set up, and then they had 4 Xbox controllers plugged into 2 Xboxes, and then they had all their hands on all the controllers just so they could move them around when they needed to. And they cut the whole thing like that, and that's how it started. And now it's like they're in Forbes and all this other stuff. They have fucking like 8 channels, and most of them have 1.5 million subscribers. They have themselves like 10 million, and they're just like hiring and turning out all these really successful people, and it's really cool to see that, because they literally they literally just started on there, and they just got into the YouTube game like really early, like when it first came out, and it's just really cool to see.
The amazing thing is that a lot of people, they will spend sometimes 5 years doing the grind, the low level, not reaching a big audience. Some people, they spend 4 to 6 months. Like it can happen so quick, or it could take time. But like that's the point of just sitting and waiting it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like just keep on going, and
that's one of the important things I think is with being consistent, because being consistent, you're gonna see like this. You're gonna see this kind of like thing. It's gonna just go up. It's gonna be slow, but it's gonna go up. And then even if it does boom really quickly, if you're not consistent, then it's gonna drop really quickly as well. It's very volatile. And so I think that that's one of the things that like I see some people lose sight of. But it's just kind of keep your head down and just do it. Don't focus on the views and stuff like that. I think something important on the flip side of that is to pay attention to like what people are saying though, because I don't want you don't want to be doing something every time that everybody has a problem with and that they're just kind of putting up with, because eventually you're going to see that number go down. But I don't know. It's just cool, and I hope to one day have enough of a platform to where I can do what I want, but like I don't want to sound really like self-righteous or weird, but like I just want to make some kind of difference, because a lot of people, they use they leverage like their platform to there's a lot of different ways they can do it. It can either be to take your mind off of all the shit that's going on in the world, or to have people that you know and respect standing up for these certain things. So it makes it okay for you too. Like recently with the whole Nike thing. Like I've always loved Nike, and I've always been supporter of the 49ers and Colin Kaepernick and all that stuff. But seeing that they were just seeing like the quote, I forget exactly what it was, but it's something like stand up for anything, even if it costs you everything, or something like that. And it's just like, and it's just it's really powerful, and it's really moving, because like I think that one of the things that I have is that I'm working on, living where we live, is it's very one-sided, and it's kind of like talking to a wall about certain issues. But I think that it's important to share your opinion on those when it's necessary, and I think it's important to have a voice against that, because like I don't know if you know, but I don't know if it's the first one, but Reading's having like a pride, like a pride thing. It's on like the 22nd, like the weekend of the 22nd. I think that's really cool, and that stems from, even though it is largely like conservative and very like one-minded, all that kind of stuff, and like there's Bethel involved somewhere in there, which is a whole other thing. But even though it is all of that, like we're still able to have something like that, like at City Hall. It's cool.
Yeah.
And so and I think that's one of the other things. It's just like I want to be like the best example I have is like one of the first times that like I kind of realized that I was a feminist and all this other stuff, is that there's a band I really liked, and I was like watching like a live show or something on YouTube or on the internet or something, and somebody, I forget what it was like a smaller show, but somebody was doing something stupid, and then they had one of those like cool story babe, no make me a sandwich type shirts, and he's just like on stage, like he stopped what he was doing, he's just like, I just want everybody to know that if you're going to label a woman, it's only mother, sister, or daughter. And it's just like, and I was just like, that makes sense. And then just from there on, it's just like that one person that I knew and respected so much, being able to speak out to something like that, even though that's potentially somebody that's never going to listen to their music ever again. It's just like, but it's something that is important. It's principle. And seeing that was just like, that was a very pivotal moment for me.
Yeah. And imagine,
I want to be that.
Imagine what you could do for a small town.
That's exactly
if
what
you
I'm
had
saying.
People that were willing to stand behind you.
Yeah.
And just the voice, or the ears that you could reach.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly. Because there are those people around here that are in similar situations that us, that don't have the courage to speak out. I know I don't have the courage to speak out every time, but
it's hard to.
Yeah, it really is, especially when like it's like chipping away at like a brick wall sometimes. But just I think that it would be cool to be that for somebody, and that's one of the my goals with this. That's one of the reasons why I want this to become popular, is to be able to reach those kinds of ears and be that to somebody else. So.
You know, something I've put a lot of thought into, this is a little bit of a tangent.
That's okay.
As far as like releasing music goes, I've watched a lot of people in town actually just attempt to reach the people here.
Yeah.
And I feel that a big part of getting your content out is kind of skipping the people that are right around you almost.
Yeah, no,
because I feel like you're going to get very biased results as far as their
I totally
opinions go.
Because those people, they're too close to it. One, they're either going to look at it with rose-tinted glasses, like they're going to be like, anything you do is good because I like you and you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's the other one is that they're close to you and they don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
And those are the two most common things that I see, at least as far as that.
But you know what? It is great to have that support.
It is.
Like it
it
helps
right.
a lot.
And you're right. I don't mean to say that like to not want those people to.
No, we love those people.
Yeah, because
like, really,
it helps motivate you, but at the same time, you also need people giving you constructive criticism,
mm-hmm.
and that's what you'll get from people that are on the outside of that circle that you're used to.
And this may not be true, but I almost feel like if you keep your content just to the people like in your inner circle or in your small town or whatever, it may not have the opportunity to really get out of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if those people are going to be sharing it with people that matter, that will spread your word, spread your content, whatever it is. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be talking out my ass, but those are just things that I've observed.
No, it's totally valid. It's like it's one of those things where like you do to an extent you have to stay true to yourself, because ultimately like you have to be wanting to do what you're doing for one reason or another. But at the same time, like, especially if your goal is to grow or to have a voice against certain things, you need to grow so that other people can grow with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I agree with you. You do need to kind of like make it not necessarily for the person that's right in front of you, but just kind of for everybody, or for
mm-hmm.
at least the people that you're trying to target. I don't know.
Yeah. Like when I released my app, I advertised it on Facebook to my friends and my family, and it only went so far. I don't know what would have happened if I had already had a following somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I would have advertised it to those people that don't live next to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing.
People that aren't like that are just from different demographics. Different
mm-hmm.
types of people. being exposed to the same product.
Mm-hmm.
It's bound to reach different people.
Yeah.
I get it.
And it's exciting to think about, but then it's also a matter of finding out how.
Yeah, it's
that's the game you play.
It is. It's tough, but honestly, there's always somebody you can know or find, and that's one of the reasons why like other than not being like a piece of shit human being, like just like being nice to everybody and not being afraid to like talk to people about
mm-hmm.
it. Like I had some guy that I met when I was working at Old Navy, and he has a successful podcast, and I was just talking to him about it. I was like, oh yeah, I just started to do one. He's like, well, good luck, like all those things. I don't remember him and I don't keep in contact with him, but it's just like that was an opportunity where that could happen. You know
mm-hmm.
what I mean? And it's just, it happens all the time, because like even though there are a lot of like-minded people here and that there isn't like a huge demographic to reach, people visit, and among other things. And it's just like people know people who aren't around here, and it's really cool. So I don't know. That's one of the reasons that I'm excited, at least,
mm-hmm.
is that it's not just like a lost cause. It's not like throwing rocks at a rock, I guess.
A rock at a rock.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good way to describe it sometimes, though. A lot of times I'm tempted to just uproot and move somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I know that things can be done here. That's the beauty of this. That's the beauty of the internet, is you can do this from anywhere.
So much more exposure. And that's, I've had that same feeling. It's just like it seems hopeless sometimes to like try to change something that's so rooted in, so like stuck in its ways.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll happen. It's just it's sometimes I feel lazy for wanting to leave, in a way, because like I'd like to help out my community in however way, but at the same time, it would be nice to be around more like-minded people.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's one of those things. You just kind of have to be uncomfortable sometimes
mm-hmm.
in order to make those things change.
Oh man, I've learned that over the last year.
Yeah.
Just doing anything.
Yeah.
I don't know, doing anything creative, doing anything worth a damn.
Yeah.
you got to be willing to talk to people. You got to be willing to put yourself out there in ways that will definitely make you uncomfortable.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
if you're uncomfortable doing it, to an extent, you're probably, yeah. I mean, it's probably it might work. You know what I mean? It's just like you're learning something new, and it's always going to be uncomfortable until it's not.
That's why I couldn't say no to doing this.
Yeah.
I've never done anything like this before, and I'm like, why the hell not?
Yeah.
I don't have any other friends that are trying to do something like this. I'm gonna jump in, get myself comfortable.
Yeah.
Help you out.
And I appreciate that.
Have a good conversation. It's enjoyable,
Yeah.
and you just gotta learn
and
get used to it.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, I'm having a good time.
Yeah, so am I.
And I'm
good
glad.
stuff.
And this is like, I don't know. It's always nice to have a new face on here for me because it does help me gain a new perspective. You know what I mean? Like what we were talking about. And among that, like learning what some people are interested in, and you know whether they would want to be on this again. You know, because I can get feedback from you. Like if you enjoyed this, cool. That means I'm doing something right. If you didn't and you don't want to come back, you know, that's totally cool also. But at least I'm like, what can I do to make this a more enjoyable experience? Like not only for the people on that side of the camera, but for the people on this side of the camera. You know what I mean?
It matters because if the chemistry here isn't right,
The chemistry there is
chemistry
definitely
over
not gonna
there.
be right. Yeah.
Nope.
Exactly. Like people pick up on that so easily. Like especially if you do have that kind of core following. Like I can tell when, or at least I feel like I can tell when people that I watch aren't enjoying the video that they're making.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or if they're like trying too hard to enjoy it, or if or sometimes you can tell whose idea it was because of how much somebody's enjoying it or somebody else isn't. But I don't know. It's just, that's one of the things. Like you're right. You have to have a good chemistry on this side of the on the table as well.
And I've seen a lot of content creators step back because they're making so many videos and they're like, you know what? I'm not enjoying this anymore. I'm just gonna step back and maybe do this once a week.
Yeah.
If they're like daily vlogging,
Yeah.
that's where I've seen it the most. They're like, this is too much. I'm not enjoying this.
For sure.
It was for the money. It was to keep you guys entertained, but me, I'm miserable.
Yeah. And
you gotta find your balance.
I've seen that too. Like there's certain like segments that some people that I watch do where they used to do both of them each. Like you get this video and this video this week, and you get those same two videos the next week. But they just weren't enjoying doing that, or they were burned out doing it. So they end up doing, you know, doing like kind of a season. So they do one of them every week, and then the next one, you know, the week after that or whatever like that. And so it's important to have that like good. I don't want to say like mental health, but it is mental health, but like also having like your comfort on this end. You don't want to be burned out and just cranking out videos because chances are they're going to suffer for it.
And I think you're right. I think the people on that end are gonna see it so quickly.
Definitely. Like, I mean, like all it is body language, and it is like face-to-face conversation. If you can pick up on that, then you know when they're not really struggling to put up that front because they're not actually talking to anybody except for the people that they're with, you can definitely see it.
Yeah.
So
I watched this guy. His channel name is Street Speed 717. He's a car channel.
okay.
And he daily vlogs.
Yeah.
He started off with an old pickup truck, just kind of reviewing it, teaching people how to drive stick, you know, just fun stuff. And he built a following. He got a Dodge Hellcat. He got a Corvette.
Yeah.
He just kept moving up, and now he has a McLaren.
Yeah.
And he has like 700,000 subscribers at this point, but he is a daily vlogger, but he'll just leave for 3 days.
Yeah.
And he'll come back and be like, hey, I just took a break.
Yeah.
Like I just needed a couple days, and people, they never have a problem.
Yeah. I have there's this guy that I follow. His name is Mark Brown, and he kind of dissects like filmography in games and stuff like that, and like figures out basically like what makes a good game or what makes a good movie and that kind of thing. And it's very fascinating to watch. And he also like has he's been doing new bits for like how people can improve gaming for like disabled people and stuff. And as a colorblind person, he just came out with a video for colorblindness, so it's kind of cool. But he like you were saying, he releases maybe 2 videos a month, but he doesn't always. Sometimes it takes like 2 months for him to come out with a video, and it's just like. But the thing is, they're always so good, and people have that expectation. It's not like, I don't know. It's different when the expectation is that it's weekly, and then it just like stops, and then it doesn't ever come back like without any warning. But something that I found fascinating is that there is I was mentioning Rooster Teeth, and they have a lot of like affiliates with them, like other people that are like a part of their like network. And there's this one called Kind of Funny, and I love them. They're very funny, as the name doesn't do it justice. But they're very funny, and they're very good at what they do. But they are they're Patreon ran.
Okay.
Which is pretty common for some of those other things. Some of them, they are a part of like the Rooster Teeth Corporation. Other ones are affiliates of them, and so they get most of their money through Patreon. And something that I found fascinating is that they were doing just as successful as these other ones that were getting at least 300,000 views in the first day of their videos, and they were only getting like 50,000 and all that other stuff. But they're doing just as successful, and still like they're growing and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Living in a city that's more expensive to live in than some of the other ones. And it's just fascinating to me that like they're able to make it work like that. And that really like
through Patreon?
Yeah, through Patreon and that kind of thing. Because I mean, there's other ones that use it that are also successful, but like seeing that it still works even with like that jarring difference in number, like 300,000 and 50,000 are two largely different numbers.
Sure.
And the fact that they get most of their money through Patreon is just like it's really interesting to see like. To see that and see that they still have, I wouldn't say disposable income, but like they have this other stuff and they make good amounts of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's because they have a smaller team and they have like a focused idea of what they want to make.
Patreon is just so cool because that is a show that your fan base is literally taking money out of their pocket and just handing it to you. They're like, I appreciate what you're doing so much. Here's $5.
Yeah.
Here's $10.
Exactly. And
it's so cool.
I've done it before. I used to be YouTube has a similar system where you can I forget what it is. Not subscribe.
I've seen like live videos you can donate.
You can donate, but you can also be you basically it's kind of like Patreon. You pay a certain amount every month.
Okay.
You can do that as well. And I used to do that just because there was this channel that I really liked, and they decided to go independent rather than be a part of whatever corporation they were a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really cool. And it's honestly like $5 adds up. It really does. Like.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, just thinking about that, like $5 a month from 100 people is $500.
Yep.
And it's just like in reaching 500 people that are willing to give up. Putting it in perspective is really one of the things that does it for me, because like giving up a cup of coffee is literally like it's like $5 if you go to like Starbucks or something. And it's just like being able to not have one coffee a month so that somebody can follow their dream is just astounding to me. You know what I mean? So that's why that's why the system works. In my opinion, at least.
Yeah.
It's just because like people are willing to give up that one small thing just to see something big happen and be a part of it. So that's what I'm hoping. Once we start getting a little bit more regular on this, and when we get that out there done, that's when our Patreon will be set up.
I'm so excited for that.
Me too.
It's so excited.
It's so cool. I'm very very happy about that, and I don't know, and getting some extra cash with the whole logo thing that I was talking about earlier. Really helps because we're so close to having everything we need. It's like maybe like it's less than $500, and then we're gonna have like everything we need, and then we'll be able to do so much more. Like the level of production, but two, the type of content and the quality of that content is just gonna skyrocket compared to what it was, because we're gonna have a dedicated space.
Amazing things start to happen.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Is like I don't know. It's gonna be awesome. We have enough people that are interested in doing it to do it. So,
what were you saying about a desk?
Desk.
Maybe I heard wrong.
Sorry.
Go to a different. Have you considered getting or making like a big logo for the backdrop or anything, or like for the room?
I have thought about that. Actually, Jason and I were talking about this because I saw this really cool. We were actually talking about like building a set, because we like the idea of like I don't know how to describe it. Not necessarily rustic, but the kind of rustic like wood and like old style like pipe thing. I have like an old a lamp that my brother got me that's like it's like an old block of wood, an old like piece of pipe that hangs down like this, and it has an old like antique bulb in it, and I love that aesthetic. And so we were talking about combining that with something else, like basically building a big like wooden wall and putting it against our wall with like recessed shelves in it, and just having shit on there, and like
that'd be super cool.
That's one of our ideas. And then another one we have is so we want like a couch with like a shelf that's level behind it that we can put stuff on, or our drinks or whatever. and then having like a TV behind that we can either put content onto it if we need to, or just like have our logo running on there. Because like I've seen that multiple times, and I think it's cool. But you were saying something about like building a sign. I've also thought about that. Like I think that's,
yeah, I was just gonna offer to help you.
yeah, no, that would be awesome.
Or like any interior design.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know why, but I do.
No, that would be
like
awesome.
if you wanted any help, like designing a little room,
Yeah,
or
no,
a little set or whatever.
that would be totally awesome. I love running that kind of stuff by people because like feng shui is important.
Yeah.
The balance of everything in the room, it really does. It can make or break like the whole situation. Like we had all of our shelves in there. They were all level, but then we decided to make 2 of them larger because they're like stackable shelves. We decided to make 2 of them larger on either side, and then that gave us, well, one, it felt way more comfortable, just because it wasn't like just like a line of shelves at like a weird height. But also then we were able to have a perfect spot for our like planner, like our calendar.
Okay.
And so it's cool to just be able to run that kind of stuff by. But I also love like building a certain aesthetic, and once I think that we actually get the capital to, you know, not be using fold-out plastic tables and stuff like that.
It'll get there. It'll get there.
Yeah, definitely, dude. I think that'd be awesome. Jason and I were talking about like renting a place at some point, and just that would be really cool. So yeah, I'd love to have your help with that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'd be down to.
That'd be cool.
I don't know why, but I enjoy that.
Yeah,
stuff.
no, I totally get it. It's just like it's a form of art all on its own. It really is.
It's true.
Like it's just being able to piece together a room that looks nice, and like having nice, not even necessarily matching, and everything has to be the same, but like things that flow well together.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. I don't know, man. I'm just excited to see where this heads. And like, are you want to keep going, or are you feeling like you're good?
You can keep going if you
Okay,
want.
either way. I just want to make sure I don't want to read it wrong. Like if you're.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I'm gonna take a quick water break so you can keep talking if you have something to say, and I will listen.
Oh man, I don't know. Do I? Probably. I don't always have something to say, but I could now. You know, I think that the inside of a room is, like you were saying, the feng shui is very important, because if you don't feel comfortable in a space, you know how like you ever go into a classroom, it just felt uncomfortable. I don't know, I experienced that as a kid. Going into a classroom, maybe it wasn't clean enough for me, or it was a little too clean for me. I don't know, having your own feeling and making it homey so that it's not just 4 walls around you.
Yeah, and you actually,
it's quite important.
Yeah, it really is. You actually gave me an idea, or just something that I have a hot take on. I thought about it for a long time, and for a similar reason, I would just use whatever chair I could get.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, or like same with like controllers, for instance. Like I'll use the chair example first. That's something that you're spending so much time in and on that like it's important to have a good one. But I was like, oh, I'll just sit in it. Like what do I care? But like feeling comfortable and you know, having that is just, it's so important that it's something I never even considered. Like same with having a control. I'm like, oh, you know, I have this control, like the right bumper sticks a little bit, but like it works. You know what I mean?
But if you use it all the time.
Exactly. And it's just like, it's one of those things that like when I got my new Xbox, it came with a controller, and using that compared to the one that I had before is just like, it's light years difference. It's crazy how much a comfortable controller can like help you play or like just make you feel better when you're playing and that kind of thing. So I think that kind of goes in tandem with what you're talking about, like feeling comfortable in a room is like feeling comfortable being in it, not necessarily like existing inside of it, but like using the things that you're using with it.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say one of the like the best examples I have, it's something so small, but it changed so much, is when we were recording, we had we would just have our monitors, and we'd have like our Xbox sitting on top of it or like whatever. I bought these desk organizers that you're supposed to put your monitor on that has a shelf, but our Xboxes fit perfectly underneath it, and having the TV level and having the Xbox underneath it and everything clean and put away just really like changed like the vibe of like how I felt. It just felt way more comfortable being a part of it. So.
You know, I just moved into a new house.
Yeah.
In February. It's been a bit. When we first moved in, it was supposed to just be 6 months, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna hang anything on the walls. I'm not gonna unpack my boxes. It's gonna be so soon anyways. I didn't feel up to it. It is what it is. But then I lived in that room, and I'm like, you know what? This is 4 white walls. This is not me. You know what? It's a rental.
Yeah.
I didn't want to stick holes in the wall, but
Yeah.
I did. I was like, you know what? Having those things hanging on my wall that are mine, it just makes it feel you.
I totally.
And when it's not, even if you just go lay down in bed, and it's like, okay, I just have my bed in here. That's it. It doesn't feel comfortable.
No, I totally get it. We just recently mounted our TV in our bedroom, and it's just like that. Like that improved my view of our room light years. Like we rearranged the room, and we put the TV up with the shelf underneath it, and like we put our router and our modem on, like sticking on the wall. It's way better. Like not only is it more like not necessarily convenient, but it's just like you're right. It changes your outlook on a lot of other things too. Just like being comfortable at home, because that's like if you're not comfortable at home, that's not a good sign. You know what I mean? You're not going to be comfortable in a lot of other aspects of your life. You're not going to want to either be home or you're going to want to stay home. And you know, it's important. You're right.
It's very.
What?
It's very.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I was waiting for you to finish your drink of water.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good. You were telling me when you were coming over here that somebody like cut you off or something, right?
Oh, yeah.
Lay it on me.
So it all started right when I got onto the highway. No, there was a backup, some sort of backup on the highway.
Yeah.
I think it was actually on the exit to get to your house.
Okay.
There was something going on. I think it was far down the road. I don't know if it has to do with all the fires or what, but it was basically just a giant line of semis.
Man.
There was a ton of semis. I was in traffic. How long do you think it takes me to get here?
I don't know. After I texted you, I took a shower and then I got this all set up, so I wasn't really paying attention, but it was probably a half hour.
Yeah, it was quite a bit. It's like a 10, 15-minute drive here. So it took about double that. People were just being crazy. It was stop and go. I was at a stop on the freeway a few times, but I got off on the next exit, kind of took the back way to get to your house. And I'm about to go through this intersection, and this lady, I see her come up behind me, and she just swerves around me to the left on the oncoming traffic side to get through the intersection before I get through it when the light was already green. And
wow.
I can't imagine what goes through people's heads when they do something like that.
People around here, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's everywhere, and I just don't have the scope to realize it. But just like anytime anything happens, everybody forgets how to drive. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to be like that like old white guy that always says that, but like it's true. Honestly, like it was like the first rain of maybe not the first rain, but one of the first rains of the year when
rain is the worst around.
It is because it's always so fucking hot. People are just like, what is this falling from the sky? It's just like I got to get home and get my kids. Fuck. But
we're leaving town.
Yeah, exactly. I took my driver's test, and it was like the first rain of the year, and I passed it. By the way, passed first.
Hey.
But there was like 3 people ran red lights during my time doing that. I was like, what the fuck? Like, is this normal? It's so crazy. Like, 2 people at the same light, and then one person at another light almost like fucking hit us, and I'm just like, what the hell? It's crazy. And people just like they I don't know, it's just dumb.
People, you know how the Cypress light has the cameras that go off?
Oh, yeah, I'm well aware.
You have personal experience with that. You know, I see people going the opposite way. They run red lights so often. I never see the cameras flash on them. Someone just did that today on my way.
I also see that. So many people don't get caught for that, and then like, yes, I did break the law, but I was doing something completely different than what they were doing where it didn't go off. I didn't stop when I was turning right on a red light. So nobody was coming, but I just kept going, and that's how I got my ticket. Yeah. But the people, like, they'll be turning left on a red light, and it won't go off, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, how does that, like, what are the sensors on this? Like, they must be busted or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, I think people are just lucky.
I think so too. I
think that falls down the base level of it. Like, people are just really fucking lucky.
It's very true. I'm you know, a little controversial. I'm not a very lucky person, and I'm okay with that. I think that makes me less complacent, and because I like to think that at some point that person their luck's gonna run out, and justice is gonna be served.
It is true.
You know, good on them. You know, if they're a good person, cool. Keep your luck, but you know, just knock them down a peg. I'd be okay.
You know,
with that.
I had a friend in high school. Very lucky man.
Yeah.
He did so many things that I would also do as well, and I'd get caught for them and he wouldn't. Whether it was by his parents, whether it was by the school, whether it was by the teacher, whatever it was, there was never discipline for this guy.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't often wish harm on people.
Yeah.
But in high school, I was almost jealous.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? You suck.
Yeah.
You're doing all these things, getting away with it, and I'm here in trouble probably.
Yeah.
But you know, once we got out of high school, he's not in a very good position, and I feel bad because I don't think people deserve that. He's not in a good spot in life.
Yeah. No, I get it.
But it comes back to people eventually.
It really does, and I totally agree with you. I think that people can be down on their luck. It's not like you're not in control of every aspect of your life. You know, it can happen. You know, you just have to hope that the decisions that got them there won't happen again, and that they'll, you know, at least be making steps towards it, and that somebody else will be kind enough to kind of like help them up. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's tough though. I get it. It's yeah, it's one of those things. It is a little satisfying to see them knocked down after a while. You know, just see the justice served, but not like that all the time. You know, you don't want to see somebody struggling for, you know, the rest of their life because they, you know, were better at you than something in high school or whatever like that.
And you know what? Like, I can't hold that against anyone.
Exactly.
If you're in high school, you're stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
Most people are. Not everyone, but we all do stupid things, and I can't hold that strictly against a person. And currently, I don't wish he was in that position.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. No.
I didn't wish he was in the position that he was in a month after he was in that position.
Yeah.
You know, I don't wish harm on people like that.
No, I get it.
I feel bad, but it was just the point that luck comes around.
Yeah, it does.
Unfortunately,
no, it really does. Like it takes a long time, but people will get what's coming to them eventually.
You know, it makes you stronger though.
I think so too.
If you're not lucky, you go through enough, you become stronger for
that's
it.
That's kind of the point that I was trying to say is just like, you know what, I'm glad I wasn't super lucky. I like to think that I've earned most of what I've come into, and that you know, the bad stuff included. And I'm happy that that things are where they're at now. Things aren't necessarily great, but you know, I'm okay with them because I know that I got here because of me.
Yeah.
And that's
exactly.
That is what it is. That is what it do.
Yep. It is.
So, I don't know. I feel like that's a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah. Feeling pretty good about that too.
I like that. Well, thank you, Nick, for being on. I very much appreciate it.
Thank you.
More than welcome anytime doing any part of our production. You're more than welcome to be a part of it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed Nick on here. If you did, let me know.
Thank you for welcoming me.
I know. Everybody, I think most of the people that watch like the new faces. If you enjoy the video, you can give it the good old thumbs up. You can subscribe to us if you want to see more of our other podcasts. I also have a personal channel. You can check that out. And what else is there? Comment if you have anything you want us to talk about next time, or if you want to see Nick come back here. So, anything else you want to add, Nick?
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem, man.
Pretty much it.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.